Take a deep breath. Write 222 in the comments now, because there is nowhere to hide anymore. Chosen one, your journey to justice has taken shape behind the curtain where no one can see. While everyone thought it was an ordinary case, in fact the judge before you was not a human being, but a hidden figure from another species, another dimension, without a conscience, placed there to stigmatize you from the very beginning. They watched you from the darkest points of the system to suffocate your truth. You looked for real humanity behind your eyes, but you couldn't find it. Imagine an old oak tree standing alone at the edge of a field, branches stretched wide, refusing to bow even when the storm blows through and strips the night bare. That's what you look like to heaven right now, rooted, unwavering, breaking the silence that once hid the schemes swirling around you. The night has run out of places to hide, and your light has broken over the horizon, scattering every shadow that nursed bitterness in secret. Just as the dawn calls every songbird out of hiding, so too will the petty whisperers find their stories exposed by the brilliance you carry. No matter how quietly jealousy tried to creep along the walls or how cleverly betrayal tried to fit in among friendly faces, they're about to realize that nothing outruns the truth when it comes dressed in the sunrise God appointed you to be. Every sideways glance, every backhanded whisper, every plot hatched under the cover of darkness will be dragged into the open like moths stunned by the first blaze of morning. They thought your setbacks could clip your wings, but here you are, rising out of their rumors and stepping into the kind of light that can't be dimmed by anyone's dim opinion. When they see you next, just a regular day, maybe just across a parking lot or through the window of a coffee shop, they'll feel the weight of every false smile melt away. All the masks, so carefully arranged, will sag and slide, unable to compete with the integrity in your gaze. Your very presence, like sunlight cutting through the fog, will make every hidden motive visible, every unspoken envy sound louder than a church bell at dawn. And the beauty of it all, you don't have to say a word. The truth that's traveled with you, the faith that kept you rooted, will do all the talking. God's light walks with you, bright, healing, impossible to deny, and it brings every hidden thing into the day for good. Imagine an old lantern, flickering in a world gone pitch black, suddenly burning with such a steady light that every hidden corner is thrown into clarity. That's what your presence does, beloved. You aren't just exposing what was done in the dark. You're changing the whole landscape. In rooms where they used to trade rumors as if they were coins, your entrance turned every lie into dust. The courage written across your face isn't just for show. It's the password that unlocks every sealed chamber of deceit. Where once your name was used as a sharpened tool to wound and divide, now it echoes as a call to truth, forcing every hidden slight and whispered plot into the open. You see, the divine doesn't send a chosen one into the fire just to watch them struggle. The chosen one becomes the torch that makes the fire reveal its secrets. Each time someone tried to wrap your legacy in shadow, your steadfast spirit burned brighter, illuminating every falsehood until even those who whispered against you are blinded by the glare. There's a reason the old foxes squirm when you step in. You bring a spiritual weather front with you. The temperature in the room shifts, the fog of gossip lifts. The true story finally breathes in daylight. Now, while others scramble to rewrite yesterday's scripts, you're out here drafting a whole new testament with your life. Like a beacon built on a mountain, your character signals to all who can see. The old system can't hold when the truth starts walking upright. Just as a lighthouse can't choose who sees its glow, you radiate without picking favorites, healing wounds you never caused, guiding the lost without asking for applause. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom. For you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. You are the reason old alliances unravel, the root cause of uneasy stares and nervous laughter in the halls of those who once conspired. Their arsenal of tricks falls apart like wet paper, unable to withstand the rain of authenticity you bring. Every table where your name was traded for sport now collapses under the weight of its own dishonesty, while you dine at the feast of peace set before you by hands greater than theirs. Let it be said, your story is not about what was spoken behind your back, but about what rises in your presence. Like dawn breaking after a night of storms, your truth is unstoppable, simple, powerful, and for all to see. This isn't just the end of a smear campaign. It's the beginning of a chapter where your victory is written in big, bold letters across the sky for all to witness. Imagine the way the rooster crows just before sunrise, breaking through the darkness with a sound that can't be ignored. That's how your intuition worked every time you crossed into a place that just didn't feel right. A boardroom that chilled your bones, a dinner table where every smile felt painted on, or those moments when applause felt more like a closing door than a celebration. Each one of those tingles was heaven's advance notice, a gentle alarm that truth would not stay buried. While you quietly tilled the soil of your soul, turning every disappointment into the fertilizer of your next blessing. They stayed up late scheming, jotting down your wins like ammunition in a secret war. But God kept every record, and now the floodgates are about to open. Screenshots will spill, whispers caught on audio will surface, and all those hushed conversations are going to spill out like a laundry basket dumped in the middle of the street on cleaning day. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. And beloved, just like the breeze that sweeps through and rings every chime before the storm breaks, your discernment was never wrong. That was the Spirit tuning your senses, warning you that you were walking through a field set with traps. What they tried to twist into scandal, God is about to use as the headline of your vindication. In this season, the receipts won't just clear your name, they'll shine a light so bright on your journey that every hidden agenda shrivels, every seed you sowed in secret, every act of humility, every time you forgave instead of fighting back. Heaven saw it all, and now the whole world's about to see the fruit. You're not just coming through this clean. You're stepping out with more favor, more clarity, and more power than ever before. That's the promise for the chosen. Your discernment was the bell, and now the celebration is about to begin. Imagine a dusty theater where the stage props are all made of paper mache, painted to look grand, but a drizzle of truth melts them into soggy scraps. That's how it is when borrowed accusations and patched-together rumors try to pass as reality. Each false report glued over your good name is just another layer hiding their own insecurity. In their logic, your breakthrough sounded like a personal eviction notice. Your genuine joy read as a forecast of their own loss. This entire stage show supported by illusions and stitched together with counterfeit narratives, was always destined to dissolve under the spotlight of revelation. When the curtain finally falls, their own intentions are left exposed, plain as day. No more costume changes, no shadows to hide behind. The story they tried to write with your setbacks as their backdrop ends up revealing nothing but their desperate need to invent a villain, when all along, the only real drama was their fear of your light. Now let's really stretch this, because beloved, just as a beam of sun will always outlast a cardboard cloud, your truth endures beyond every lie. No matter how many times they tried to patch over your story with their broken pieces, the real you, the chosen you, cannot be contained or distorted. Like gold that refuses to tarnish, your purpose remains, reflecting only what God stamped on you long before any scheme ever started. You are the living proof that no matter how many times they try to rewrite your ending, heaven has already written your beginning in letters that cannot be erased. And you know what? For someone living in this season, especially anyone over 49 who's watched folks come and go, you know this truth better than anyone. It doesn't matter what they throw on your mirror. God's light shines straight through, illuminating every hidden corner until only the truth remains. So let them waste their tape and scissors. The next act is yours, and it's built on a foundation nobody else can touch. Just imagine a grand chessboard, its surface stretching from horizon to horizon, each square a crossroads of destiny. For years, one cunning player thought they could outmaneuver fate, pulling strings from behind the curtain, moving pawns, knights, and bishops to block your path. They manipulated both sides, believing themselves the only architect of the outcome. But then, beloved, the true master steps into the game, the one who sees every move before it's made, who already wrote the final checkmate in heaven's book before the match began. Suddenly, the tables turn. The hidden hand behind every rumor and every setup cannot keep its grip any longer. Secrets start to surface like chess pieces toppling off the board. Dated memos, private chats, elaborate flowcharts, all the blueprints of manipulation are brought into the light, and there's nowhere left for deception to hide. Those false allies, recruited in the shadows, realize they were only pieces in a much bigger plan, unwitting participants in a drama directed by someone too afraid to face their own reflection. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. You, chosen one, were always the reason for the shaking. Your steps sent ripples through their schemes. Your faith exposed every secret alliance. That puppet master, they clocked your potential before anyone else. They felt the ground tremble when your anointing brushed the board. Instead of learning from your resilience, they hardened their heart, choosing sabotage over surrender, control over humility. They drafted bystanders into their web, calling them team, turning confidants into chess pieces, but never grasped that heaven was always several moves ahead. Beloved, this is the hour when every hidden string is cut, every mask slips, and every forced hand is revealed. You are no pawn. You are not just surviving the board, you're claiming it. Heaven's Grandmaster wrote your victory before they even set up the pieces. When the smoke clears and the hands of the deceiver are exposed, the world will know the real game changer was never the one in the shadows. It's the light you carry, the strategy you walk in, the authority you were born with. Like a morning sun that outshines every shadow cast in the night, your presence breaks through every scheme. Every tangled knot of betrayal is about to be unraveled. This is your checkmate moment. Not because you outplayed your opponent, but because you stood firm and let heaven write the ending. And when the world watches the game flip, they'll see that the story was never about the manipulator's moves. It was always about the light that could never be contained. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Think of a weathered oak tree standing firm while a cloud of restless insects dance in its shade, all frantic motion and no substance. That's what their sidelong glances and whispered digs amount to, compared to the unwavering calm God has rooted inside you. They avoided direct challenge because the spotlight would have shown how sturdy you really are. So they flitted around in low-lit gatherings, muttering grievances, scrolling through every chapter of your life for a crack to wedge open. Every slip or stumble you made, they paraded like a parade float, eager to convince the crowd that your journey was nothing but trouble. They believed if they repeated their story often enough, it might replace the truth you carry in your soul. Yet while their words are carried off by the first honest breeze, your foundation holds strong, planted in a soil deeper than gossip, more enduring than rumor. For every small mistake they magnified, heaven had already written a redemption in the next line. What they called a downfall was just God pruning the branches so you could bear even more fruit in season. You are living proof that what's rooted in divine purpose can't be upended by the flurry of small-minded schemes. Just as the oak remains when the gnats are gone, your destiny outlasts every petty campaign, every whispered half-truth, every fleeting storm. And when the dust finally settles, it's your branches that still reach toward the light, steady, blessed, and unbreakable, a beacon for every soul looking for the courage to stand tall in a world of swarming distractions. Imagine a cracked old mirror at the county fair, one that twists every innocent grin into a sneer and every peaceful pause into coldness. It's like they built a house of fun just to trap your image inside, wiring up booby traps at every turn. If you spoke up, suddenly you were too much. If you stayed quiet, they painted you as sly. If you danced a little in your spirit, you were showing off. If you chose stillness, they called you heartless. That's how relentless the game was. Rules changing every hour, traps at every door. Yet look around now. The carnival tent has collapsed under the weight of its own crooked nails. The rigged booths have all toppled. The only reflection left upright in the dust and splinters is the one God himself hung before time began. The image he sculpted when he stooped low, breathed life into clay, and called it very good. Friend, the spotlight is on you now, not because you sought the stage, but because the divine author put a pen in your hand. The house of distortion is closed for business. Every lie, every twisting of your words, every attempt to paint you as something you're not. God's truth is cutting through it all, like the sunrise through cheap curtains. The game that was always stacked against you is exposed for what it is, and you're not just a survivor at the gates. You're the one writing the next chapter with heaven's ink, page by righteous page. Now, instead of being defined by other people's accusations, You're the one with authority to shift the atmosphere. Walk into any room and watch how policies start to change, not because you demand it, but because the presence of truth moves with you. Just like a lighthouse whose beam breaks the fog for every ship in the harbor, your integrity shines out. It can't be dimmed by gossip, slander, or the noise of the crowd. There are families that have been torn apart by bitterness, waiting for a word from a healed soul. You carry that healing on your tongue, mercy that rebuilds what division tried to destroy. It's like the thermostat in a cold house. When you step in, everything begins to warm up. Churches and workplaces alike will feel that authority, because you're not just talking about survival. You're a living testimony to the power of redemption. Your story has weight, not because it's perfect, but because it's been through the fire and still rings true. You were never meant to stay stuck in the funhouse. That's not your address. That's just a stop on the journey to your destiny. The crooked mirrors never held the final word over you. God framed your life in the halls of eternity long before any critic took up a pen. And now, here's the glory of it. He's let you hold the pen to finish the story on earth. So don't let the carnival barkers or cheap booths define you. The rigged game is over. The crooked funhouse is dust. You are the editor now. With every honest word, every forgiving act, every vision you set before your community, you rewrite the lines the world once tried to assign you. Imagine you're the rain that falls after a season of drought, gentle, steady, and unstoppable. Just as those parched fields crack open to receive the blessing from above, so too do hearts, families, and even boardrooms start to transform wherever your presence lingers. The soil thought to be barren now bursts with green, because God appointed you as a life-bringer, a carrier of rivers that never run dry. No matter how hard the world tried to scorch your purpose, the well inside you couldn't be touched by famine or neglect. The skeptics swore you'd be just another casualty of circumstance, buried under disappointment and dry hopes. They counted on your silence, but didn't realize you were being watered in secret, rooted deeper while the world wasn't watching. Now every step you take is like the first rainfall, breaking a long silence. Integrity flows from you, not as a performance, but as the evidence of what God planted in your soul long before critics took the stage. When you walk into a room, you don't have to announce yourself. The temperature shifts, the air clears, and old policies start to crumble as new seeds of fairness are sown without a word. In the workplace, it's not just about a policy rewrite. It's about the shift that happens when your reputation precedes you. The courage in your voice realigns the room. People pause. Even those who once plotted your downfall find themselves reevaluating what's possible when real integrity is at the helm. This is not about shouting or grandstanding. Just as dawn quietly announces itself and darkness cannot withstand its coming, your faith quietly realigns systems, relationships, and futures around you. Within families that have known only cycles of broken trust and cold silences, you become the gentle rain that heals. Like dew on withered grass, your words and actions infuse hope, making what was brittle grow supple again. Generational fractures begin to mend, not because you force your way, but because mercy flows naturally in your presence. Old arguments seem small in the light of your peace, and reconciliation finds a path where there was only dry ground. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord guide your path. And in communities, churches, circles of faith, places where vision once seemed lost, you bring direction like a compass that has found true north. Your testimony, shaped in the furnace of hardship and watered by divine mercy, carries an authority no title can bestow. Pastorless visions regain their sense of purpose. Wandering souls recognize a leader who has been carved out of storms, not just promoted by popularity. When you speak, it's not just words, it's a current, a refreshing wind that revives the weary and recalibrates dreams. Beloved, you are the evidence that deserts can bloom, that valleys can sing again, and that even the hardest stone can yield to the water of God's promise. Let the doubters watch as what they called wasteland becomes a garden right beneath your feet. Systems will bend, families will be restored, and dreams will awaken, not because of what you demand, but because of the river flowing through you, a river nobody else can turn off. So stand strong, chosen one. The world may try to resist, but living water carves new paths even through the rock. Your story is the downpour after the drought, the wellspring after the famine, the blessing that cannot be dammed up. This is the legacy of those chosen to carry light where others only saw shadow. And that, beloved, is how kingdoms change. One drop, one step, one living river at a time. See, family fractures that seemed set in stone, generations of silence, years of misunderstanding, start to heal when you open your mouth in mercy. It's like a cool breeze in the heat of old grudges, and walls of pride begin to fall. The prodigal hearts come home because you're speaking life over bones others gave up for dead. You carry reconciliation, not just in your words, but in your presence. It's a new blueprint for what unity looks like after the fire. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. And for every house that lost its shepherd, for every vision that wandered in the wilderness, your testimony brings the compass. You know why? Because authority forged in affliction glows with a heat no counterfeit can mimic. You're walking proof that scars can become signposts, pointing the way to wholeness. And that pain, when surrendered, is the seed of true direction. Now pause a moment and imagine this. You're like a city on a hill at night. No lampshade, no shadow. Just light stretching out over valleys and ridges. Wherever your story echoes, confusion gives way to clarity, and people who are ready to quit find the courage to try again. Every line of your journey, every time you kept showing up when it would have been easier to disappear, is a page in the manual for someone else's miracle. And beloved, this is only the beginning. God's grace is your ink, and your story is being written in letters bold enough for generations to see. Your faith is not just survival, it's a sacred rewriting, a living testimony ringing out from the mountaintop, not as an echo, but as a new song. Line after line, you're penning a record that the storms of yesterday will have to salute. You are heaven's calligraphy, each page dipped in holy resilience, every word declaring that purpose will always outlast persecution. Don't be surprised when your story becomes the manual for the next generation. The table that once hosted your enemies will become a platform for your legacy. Your testimony will teach people how to build when the rubble's still fresh, how to trust God when the promise looks overdue, how to choose blessing over bitterness every single time. Because your narrative is the proof. The last word always belongs to the author. And when he writes, even the dust has destiny. So go ahead, stand tall in the room, in the family, in the church, in the world. Let your mercy change the weather. Let your story be the lighthouse, and let your praise be the blueprint. Because what God's built in you is meant to be seen, meant to be shared, and meant to endure until every shadow bows to the light He's placed inside you. You're not just turning a page, beloved. You're launching a whole new chapter in bold, unbreakable kingdom letters. And the best is yet to be written.